So today was the SNP's opposition day, and oh my god, what a farce it turned out to be. The debate was going great from about half 12, 1 o'clock. Very samey debate on a ceasefire in Palestine. The usual players were saying the usual things like Hamas, 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 terrible atrocities, starving people, need to get aid, ceasefire, ceasefire, we don't like the wording, etc., etc. That is the backdrop for pretty much most of the debate. But what was happening in the background was utterly historic. You see, Lindsay Hoyle, the Speaker of the House, had received a message from the Labour Party saying, hey, you're going to need our votes to keep your job next year when we're in government. Or words to that effect, that kind of passive aggressive, you're going to have to be on our side about stuff. Now, what happened after then? Don't really know, but Lindsay Hoyle changed the rules for Opposition Day. He allowed Labour to make an amendment to the SNP's motion on the ceasefire in Gaza. This is unprecedented, it's not been done before, it's a bit wild to even consider that this would be a fair and democratic thing to do. However, with Labour hemorrhaging votes for this and potentially having the greatest rebellion they've actually had with regards to anything to do with Gaza and Palestine, they had to do something. So the debate continues, and Lindsay Hoyle's now having a wee rest, or he's away somewhere else, and the Deputy Speaker is now in the chamber. The chamber's filling up, it's about 5 to 6, and they're going to be preparing for a vote on this. Now, they were going to take Labour's vote first, the amendment, which again is unheard of. So Stephen Flynn stands up and he turns around and says, where's the Speaker? And he's totally shouting at the Deputy Speaker about this. He's going mental about it. And it's unheard of to see. I've never seen an MP shout this much, like in modern times, especially from the SNP. This is like fantastic. This is like, go for it, Stephen, go for it. Three times he asks, where's the Speaker? He has to come back and explain why we can't get to vote first on our own opposition day motion. So as a result of this, the SNP and the ALPA walk out of Parliament. They walk out of Parliament. They just go. It's like, screw you guys. I'm not putting up with this. We're making an utter statement on this right now. So while all this chaos was ensuing, the Deputy Speaker called for a division, and they do that sort of like oral vote where it's like the ayes and the nays. So they took the vote as being ayes. Okay, when clearly you can hear everybody shout, no, no. I mean, it was obvious it was a no, that they didn't want to do the division, because it was obvious that there was people that wanted to vote for the SNP motion on every party. There was people wanting to vote on it. So when the division was called and they went off to the lobbies to do the ayes and the nays and things like that, they were actually voting on whether or not Parliament should be made private for the rest of the session. It turns out that they were also voting on Labour's amendment. So when the House returned and the votes were counted, they turned round and they said the nays have it with regards to having the rest of the session being private. And then somebody stood up with the Labour Party saying that their amendment was passed unanimously. Unanimously. Now, the question you might be asking, did the SNP actually get to vote on their motion? Well, the answer to that is no. Can you believe that? SNP's own opposition day, and they didn't get to vote on their own amendment. This is unprecedented. This is an absolute shambles, and it shows directly why Labour cannot be trusted with anything Scottish. They're prepared to subvert democracy to stop a rebellion within their own ranks over something that is genuinely humanitarian. This is unbelievable. And where was Keir Starmer while this is all happening? Nowhere to be seen. So how do I feel about this? Pretty angry. Pretty angry that the dominating party in Scotland, the SNP, didn't get to put their motion forward, that they were sidelined by the bigger opposition party, Labour, who blackmailed the Speaker of the House to allow them to break the rules. I mean, What is that all about? Unbelievable. Now, if this doesn't turn Labour voters in Scotland towards ignoring the Union, I don't know what will. Because, as far as I'm concerned, this is worse than anything at all that the Tories have ever done democratically to Scotland. Ever. What a joke. If you're voting Labour, you really should be ashamed of yourselves.